So here's a pie chart for you for a start. Let's look at the language that's repeated in this one here. So we see that the language being repeated is biggest here. So you see this person is, this is not a mistake, but in terms of getting a good mark for IELTS, like a 7 or an 8, or at some stages even maybe a 6, you need to show variety. So this person is continually using biggest and continually using was or were. What do you think they could do? What are some other options? Again, have a talk to your partner about that. So now, because the person was overusing biggest, here are some other options. They could have used the word dominate, and they could have used other word forms of dominated as well. Dominating, domination. They could also use this little phrase here, the majority of, and then they could change the word form and the major percentage, or they could just use the highest or the largest. They would be, all of those choices there would be better and more accurate than biggest. Also, the person is overusing was and were. So this may also be considered a grammar structure, but that's one of the easy ways to do this would be to change to a more active tense there. So it's just switching it around that way. And when you do that, you can be more precise too with your language. So for revenue, they could have mentioned contributed or contribution to. So a good activity for you right now, again, would be to choose one of those sentences and change the word and change it using one of those examples that we have given you there. Now we're moving on to a table, and one of the things to consider in a table is certainly the trend language. So because there's so much data in a table, you're going to want to combine things together, and you need to explain general trends. So we've got trends going lots of different ways in a table. We need to decide which trends are most important. So have a note through this writing here and note the main trends when someone's talking about a trend. So now we see it here. This is the person describing the trends here. Now, not just a lot of students think it's in the introduction and the general statement, or if you're writing a conclusion in the conclusion, but not just there. This person's writing it throughout the report. Again and again, they're mentioning a trend, and that's certainly helping with your language. It also will be helping a lot with task achievement because it makes it very clear to the reader what you're talking about. Also, this will help with coherence and cohesion because then you're connecting the idea to the previous one. And this is very important in tables because there is so much information. Now, another thing you can use in terms of language for a table is range language because there is so much data. Here with high school, the person's, because there's not much variation, they're just choosing the low number and going to the high number and not mentioning the middle data. So that's good, again, for task achievement and also for your lexical resource there. And you can see how they're doing it in the light blue there. So that's a good thing to practice. You could practice that with some of the other ones there. For example, preschool, you could use it for that as well. You could talk from 135,000 as a low point up to 151,000. Now we've got these little words by and to. Now we've got a video for this as well, a different video. So you can have a look for the video here on YouTube, on my site on YouTube. There's a really good one about using by and to there. Students are quite often confused about it. You have to be clear with the use of by and to.